So I turned off my refrigerator that went on the left. I turned it off because the numbers were going haywire again last night. And we are in, I guess, a higher frequency environment, solar storms. So many things are going off. People are popping off. Murderers, shooters, kidnappers, a lot of cancer, disease, and chronic illness, spirituality going on. It's crazy. So I turned it off and turned it back on again. I'm going to see if it'll just stay, or I don't know, go down, whatever. But it was on 8 last night. So 8 means infinity. So, okay. Every number has a meaning, of course. But yeah, we were getting prepared for a time. Hollywood and all the news and everybody was getting us prepared for this time with all the stories, all the different genres. You go to Netflix, you see all the different stories, the genres that are out there that people can just live in and have that be their reality. But then they are blinding themselves to other genres. But a genre, when you think about it, it's just different sides of the world, different sides of you that you either explore and embrace those sides of you or deny and pretend they don't exist. So you can live in like the whole romance. People do. They live in romance. So when you look at Netflix, you see all the categories of what to watch. You can live in romance and just pretend that there's nothing else going on. You can live in horror, which is all the side of the Charles Manson type things. Horror of the Catholic Church or any other kind of indigenous population doing voodoo and shamanism and doing exorcisms. So you can live in the horror side of the world. People do. That was promoted a lot in the 80s. What's another genre? Comedy. Oh, you can laugh all the time, right? And just be all laughing all the time. There is drama series where there's just storyline after storyline with elements of horror, elements of comedy, elements of romance, and elements of twists and turns. And then you have thrillers, and you have crime drama. You have, your different racial dramas like black, white, even historical period pieces. And so all of the categories in Hollywood, Netflix, and all that, all are representing different sides of the world that have been homogenized, compartmentalized. I mean, when you look at the Bay Area, everything was compartmentalized. You have the Saratoga, Sunnyvale and Cupertino, and then you go to the side of the railroad tracks. It was like San Jose, East San Jose, South San Jose, North San Jose, whatever, right? And so that was a split. It was homogenized. You didn't cross the railroad tracks. When I was in LA, I didn't really like LA because you had rich people living next to poor people, and it was just like it was just too much diversity in one. So even moving to LA for a minute wasn't really I didn't like it. I wanted to be more in the homogenized. So living in Walnut Creek and Lafayette and Orinda, Moraga and all that, and then going across through the tunnel and then going into Berkeley and then Oakland and then going into San Francisco. So you saw the homogenization of the suburbs, and you had Concord and Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh and Brentwood, and they were more of like the kind of questionable sort of. And then you go into, of course, then it was in Walnut Creek, and then the Tri-Cities, La Miranda, and that was all in its compartmentalization. And so you had the suburbs were all just compartmentalized, and you go through the tunnel, through the Caldecott Tunnel, and then it was a bit more diverse. Berkeley, a bit more diverse. And that was where all the universities were, university students, and then you went to Berkeley, and then you could even go to, the 80, and you can go into like Emeryville and all of the Bay City, right before you get to the Bay Bridge. Then you go into Bay Bridge, now you're in San Francisco. Now it's like, whoa, diversity, homeless, rich people, bridge and tunnel people, all that. So you can kind of see just even a mapping of your city where the homogenization, compartmentalization, and then you saw the melting pot of the city as you crept further and further towards like the metropolis, like San Francisco. And so now we're seeing, now with the internet and with the frequencies, with the climate change, now things aren't compartmentalized like they used to be. Now things aren't compartmentalized. Okay. And so when things aren't compartmentalized, now you're seeing everyone coming together. And it's not always going to be beautiful. It's at this point right now, when everyone coming together, just like a man and a woman, and they make a baby, we have all cultures, races, and creeds and belief systems all now conjoining together, and there is fireworks. Me putting out the whole J world, fireworks. When you get a man and woman together and they have sex, fireworks. Okay? When you bring in all walks of life and you're putting them together, and that's why they said, that's why, not they said, but that's why there was that transition. That we only had mainstream media to tell us, to give us that platform. We had the binary system of man, woman, and for and against, to give us that platform to develop that innovation. Because when you put the for and against together, you get evolution. You put man and woman together, you get evolution. You put, which you could have now man, woman, woman, and have evolution too. But that was the going argument, that was the going way of doing things, was this kind of order. Man, woman, and then for and against, and politics, religion, and science dogmas. And so that careful crafting of evolution, and then all the experimentation in the 1960s, right? All the experimentation on people and seeing what they would do, the sexual revolution, the drug revolution, all of that, then that became its own storyline that then turned into movies. And then the mutation of those storylines turned into even more aggressive movies with snippets of stuff in history. And so yeah, so then now we don't need Hollywood. Okay, we don't need Hollywood. I just want to see something here. Okay. Ooh. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. All right, that's what I did. Okay. But now we don't really need Hollywood. And so, let me just see. Because reality is so much more fun now. Not really. All right. Okay, so there we go. So why do we need Hollywood when we don't have to manufacture the evolution on the cinematography in cinema? Why do we need writers in Hollywood when we always just observe people on Facebook and on YouTube and write about that? I mean, the watching the news at night. Like last night, at night I watched the news, listened to all the different stories, and at this point, all the news is like watching a regular story. Okay, so at this point, Hollywood writers go on strike, bringing production on many television shows to a halt. And so why do we need Hollywood when reality is just as crazy? And so you're going to see now, with the homogenization of the world at this point, now with people who have been homogenized, compartmentalized, now you're seeing that both the left and the right are merging together. Even when I went from Saratoga to the other side of the tracks, San Jose, that was an evolution. We're going to see different walks of life hang out together and develop evolution and somehow save themselves. That's really what it means to walk away from the homogenization of your safety of your circle, is that you got to save yourself, because When I said I walked away from the sisterhood, I never really belonged to a sisterhood. I wanted to. I thought that was the thing to do, belong to a family, belong to a group of people that were all like-minded, and we all would battle the evil forces together, whatever we would construe or depict or perceive as a battle. But in reality, it's a homogenization that will weaken a person, because then what are you following? Who are you following? So what is the purpose of a sisterhood? Okay, a sisterhood can create strong connections that last forever. What is forever? Whilst also bringing a sense of belonging to people who might feel isolated and alone. Having a sense of belonging is so important to all women and girls, and the acceptance from the group can help individuals show acceptance and growth within themselves. To a certain point. To a certain point, yes, it's necessary in your younger years to feel accepted, to feel part of something, to grow up and feel safe and not be picked off by predators left and right. But at some point, where do you learn how to defend yourself? Where do you learn how to evolve? Because when you're staying in a sisterhood forever, there is no evolution. Just look at your friends and family that belong to a sisterhood, a group of people, a group of friends, a group of a family, an association, a religion, a political thought process, a scientific dogma. You look at them and they haven't changed. And even if they did change, did they just replace one religion or one drug or one group of friends or one best friend for another, and it's still the same thing? No one has evolved. All they did was just trade one thing for another. Okay, like trading clients, like in insurance, there really is no evolution in insurance. Insurance is insurance. Just how do you market it and how do you sell it and who do you connect with is what makes somebody sell insurance. And if someone wants to, get some different blood, but it's still the same products, but what are you buying? You're buying the agent. You're buying the difference, but really the products are all the same. Okay? And so what is evolution? Evolution is when you get out of the homogenization of your politics, your religion, your science. Because right now, we have so many homogenized girls out there who don't understand the ways of the world. They've been so in their little safety net, their little safety circle of people, and then these predators are out there picking off our girls and boys, kidnapping them, murdering them. And then we have people who do stupid shit, like shoot their guns off in the backyard. And then you have people like over there north of Houston. They're like, hey, can you quiet down because my baby wants to sleep? Let me tell you, I do not get involved with my neighbors that may be questionable or have some idiosyncrasies. I let the police get involved if it need be, but I don't even call the police on my neighbors. I mean, if it's that bad, somebody will, but I'm not going to be the one because it's not that bad. I've even had people play loud music across the street from me in their truck in front of their friend's house, and I'm just like, I'm annoyed, but I'm not saying shit because it's during the day, it's not middle of the night. So I don't try to go and correct somebody nowadays. Because you don't know who you're correcting, you don't know what you're going to trigger, you don't know shit. Today is not the day. This time is not the time to be an enforcer. Okay? In politics or religion or science dogmas out there on the street. It is not the time. If you live near someone who is really just out of control and you can't, and this person has a screw loose and they're doing stupid shit, you move away. But you don't get involved and try to correct a stranger. Because I'll tell you, it's dangerous. And that's what happened in that town that's north of Houston. Some guy who was deported twice before came back, has an AK or AR-15. When someone told him to shoot the gun somewhere else, and his baby was sleeping, and so the guy that was shooting the gun went into that person's house and shot the mother, went in and shot a bunch of people in the house. 5 people out of 10 were killed because they confronted a stranger who was shooting a gun. Okay? And so that's what I'm saying about homogenization. You're assuming that strangers are safe. You're assuming that people are safe, even people in your circle. When you have these frequencies go crazy and people's demons come to the surface, yeah, people do take drugs to keep their demons under control. Yeah, they do get surgeries. They do have to be under the influence. They have to be drinking, or they have to do a bunch of cannabis in order to keep their demons under control. Or they turn to their religion to keep their demons under control. But even that sometimes doesn't always work. It doesn't always keep things under control because the frequencies are getting stronger. That even drugs, alcohol, sex, politics, religion, and science can't keep those demons at bay. and people do stupid shit. Like, they literally do stupid shit. And so walking away from a sisterhood, walking away from what used to be homogenized safety circle, acceptance, love, 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 might be the only way you can save yourself. That your friends, your family, the people out there that used to be safe, that, I mean, they probably are still safe on some level, but people are going down so hard. And then you're going to get caught up in their drama. And then you stay stuck in that drama, and then also do what they're doing and good. But that was the point. Because at first, here's the thing. I mean, am I saying everything's a conspiracy? Well, there was a reason why we were homogenized and in a sisterhood 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, because of innovation. You couldn't do innovation when people were all chaotic and having trouble, evolving and attacking each other and having to keep their demons down. You couldn't get innovation out of society. So you had to have all that sisterhood, brotherhood, homogenization, and you had to have the outcasts, because those were the evolutionaries, because at some point, those little people, they were all homogenized, like, the gossip queens and all the little hens that get together and gossip with each other. There had to be a coyote to come in and break them apart occasionally, so there could be some kind of evolution, or you get the homogenized people take out and destroy and extinct a population. And that's what's going on, is we have people who are so homogenized in their politics, religion, science, and dogmas, and their sisterhood, that they are extincting their own family. They are going through extinction with their friends and their groups of people. And you're going to see that happen in a genetic line, in certain religions, and even in certain lifestyles. That they're going to take themselves out because of that they couldn't evolve. Because even if you're bearing babies, even at 20 years old, okay, so you think that, okay, this genetic line is going to be, eventually, yeah, if they can't handle the frequencies, and they're doing the same thing their parents did traditionally with all the herbs and extracts and detoxes and pulse religion science, same thing, and their kids even more so are coming out even more deficient, with having now not only coming out of the body more deficient, but then now addicted to all the things to keep their demons at bay. And they have issues with evolving and changing. And there's so much trauma in that house. So what kind of chance does that kid have? And so then you are seeing the deterioration of genetic lines. And maybe some will do okay in school. Maybe they're so smart in school, but then you're seeing things happen. Kids are having heart attacks on the soccer field. Heart attacks on the soccer, or getting impaled in their eye at gym class. I already seen 2 students, which hasn't happened before. When does somebody... when does a kid have a heart attack on the soccer field? When did kids get impaled in their eye in gym class? That was unheard of. But now it's like commonplace. And so just because your kid's smart in the head, do they have it in the body? Just because your kid's smart in the body, do they have it in the head to make the right choices, to save themselves? Or mom and dad, you're just riding on the potential, living in the dreamland that your kid's going to be so rich and famous and be a soccer star or be a brain. But these frequencies are so insane, it's going to tax more on whatever their body is strong in. So if your body is strong in the brain, they'll be smart in the brain, but their body, man, they won't be able to handle a heart attack or a stroke. And yeah, if you're strong in the brain or in the body, but not in the brain, well, then are they going to make the correct choices, and are they going to drink themselves to death or do drugs or go out there and go hang out with people that are not good for them? I mean, that's the thing. That's what these parents don't really realize, is that they have to really set their kids up on both sides of it. But they don't, because of the compartmentalization, homogenization of the old world, that now you're going to see how it's going to be interacting with this new crazy world of frequencies and diversity and upheaval. Okay? And so I've always wanted to be part of a sisterhood, but I realized that was never, ever in my cards, ever. Walking away from the sisterhood. It never served me. Sisterhood is about serving somebody else at the detriment of your own life. Because even women don't need to have other women leading them. They need to be given a choice and be different and embrace their difference. Not turn them into another cologne or clone. All right? You can tell all the clones when they're all wearing the same perfumes, the same massage oils, or the same, scents. Everyone's wearing patchouli oil. Everyone's wearing, Jean Naté, or everyone's wearing the same perfume. So when you watch a group of clones, like at a club, and they're all wearing the same perfume, and they all smell like one big, huge smelling of perfume, you're like, wow, there goes a clone of fish going by, and that's the thing. And so some men need a brotherhood because they're not evolutionary. Women were meant to be evolutionary. Women, you were supposed to be evolutionary, but somebody stopped your evolution and turned you into a clone. But that's the reason why women are leaders in our society, because they are evolutionary. We have some men, yes, but they're used for their brain. Are they really evolutionary, or they're just used for their brain? But it's the women. It's the women that right now are being guided. Some women are being guided evolutionary wise, and other women are just like me or some other women out there, like maybe, I don't know, anyone that goes against the system, even back in the 1920s, that went against and challenged the current lifestyle, challenged everything. And they called them dangerous. They called them, whatever, charlatan. They called them all the names in the book. But it was women that had to get women to evolve. It wasn't the men. It was the women. And I'm not a man hater. Men are awesome. Okay? I love my man. Is he evolutionary? Well, that will remain to be seen. There are some men that are evolutionary in their brain, yes, but will their body handle it? We'll see. Okay? And that's why it's so important that John Oakes get through all this stuff that's going on and deal with his predisposed issues and his type A and type B blood type. I think he's type B. So that way he can show that men can be evolutionary and also fucking smart and potentially live indefinitely and evolve. But, so that's the thing is that, I wanted to have, I have Audrey and myself, and then John, you've seen, maybe you're watching Pip, and other people, Tanya, if you see her comment every so often about her stuff. But there's only a handful of people that I know are seriously, serious about this. Others are kind of looking off from the distance, observing. But I think men can be evolutionary without falling into the paradigms of I would say a perception of female or male. I mean, I don't act really female. I'm not flamboyant. I don't have a high voice. I'm not a girly girl. Yeah, I am female as far as sexual parts, but I have a low voice, okay? There are some females that they have a high voice. Yeah, when I squeal with my husband, because we play with each other and have fun and tickle each other and whatever, I can be squealy. But really, when the intellect comes in, it's not about having a high voice and promoting some kind of sense of needing somebody to save me or whatever, or promoting sex. No, when I'm trying to develop an idea, there is a masculine side of me, and as well there's a feminine side of me, but it's more of a balance of both. I'm not super female and I'm not super male, but I do have what would they call female parts, okay? And so women were meant to be evolutionary. Some men are evolved enough to be both man and evolutionary, and it takes an evolving, versatile man to understand his own evolution. All right? And so yeah, so when you look around you at all the people that are in your world, you look at all the groups, the homogenized groups of females hanging out together, and they don't ever change their friendships, they don't ever change their belief systems, they don't ever change anything. They all have kids together. They all will grow old together, and they all will die together. That was the intention. Of course it was. But now in this environment, it'll be even accelerated, and the kids are going to come out even more deficient because no one has changed. You all have bred on predispositions that were never dealt with, and you didn't become a whole person, Mom, because the reason why you have a child is because you had deficiencies that caused you to drop an egg. I haven't had my period since February. So no period in March and no period in April, and now we're in May, and I don't see a period coming soon at all. But the reason why I had a period in February is because I was exposed to my dog's microbes that caused such an exorbitant chemical reaction that it caused the body to go into an evolution to assimilate to that new microbe that my dog gave to me, whatever it was. and caused me to drop an egg. That egg was, if it was fertilized by a male, it would then turn into whatever new evolution. And so, yeah, when they say the dog flu is going around, oh, absolutely. I know I caught something from my dog when she was dying, when I was blind to her dying. Okay, I know I caught something from her because I felt so many different weird things during that process. As you have watched, you watched that whole process of me going through that. Okay, but then after I gone through that week of stiff neck, right after she passed away, then I had the stiff neck. I had the stiff neck. I felt so tired, so lethargic as my body was evolving to that microbe and releasing the demons. Because, and then of course still have the scars from her going through that evolution into the other side. Okay? And so I wouldn't now necessarily have, unless there's a major shift in the universe where a bunch of people would pass away around me, I would probably get a period. But since I'm not bringing in any animals in here that could potentially die or go through a sickness, my husband is the only one that comes in this house. And if we get strangers to come in, I'll release the demons. Or I go into any different genome, I'll take in the microbes and release the demons. And if the microbes are that strong, if there's something, circulating in the environment that is that strong, then yeah, I'll drop an egg. And with all these frequencies and all these new energy levels and coronal mass ejections that are going on, I guess, and all the northern light stuff, if that becomes even more aggressive, yeah, I guess I'll drop an egg. But at this point, what I'm feeling is dealing with the spirits in my house. Okay? That's what I'm dealing with, and releasing demons. I had no dreams last night. I mean, I took a nap yesterday and I still was able to sleep, but I would sleep for like a couple hours, and I would wake up at like 3 a.m. I don't know why I woke up. And then I'm thinking in my head, as I hear the house creaking, was that like the spirit that woke me up at 3 a.m. and then just walking away? I'm thinking like, oh God. But I would still get up, turn the light on. And I mean, I'm aware that shit's around. I'm aware, but it hasn't ever showed itself. If it ever did, I would kick its ass. But it won't show itself. But it'll fuck with me when I'm sleeping and wake me up. I mean, it'll fuck with my electronics. That's why I turned the refrigerator off and then I turned it back on again just to see, because it was at 8. I actually saw it last night go to 8, or it was at 6. It went from 6. No, it went from 7 to 8 or something. I forget. It was between 6 and 8, and I'm like, so I didn't say it last night. So I'm like, I'm not even gonna, But it did do that last night, and that's why I turned it off last night. And then I turned it back on this morning, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I went through my Facebook reels, and something said that that there are ghosts that are trying to contact you, and you see stuff, which I do see stuff at the corner of my eye, and they flash away, or it's like movement, and I could feel the presence, the heat, and I have the dreams. Electronics are going a little crazy. Okay, I mean, I don't have a lot of electronics in the house, but we have like a stereo system, and also, which is like the old version. And we also have that refrigerator that shows the digital stuff. Okay, so a lot of the digital stuff would be a medium for them to go and to contact you or do stuff. Okay, so that's why in a lot of ways this AI, this artificial intelligence, where you have like a device, like a spirit box, that then turns into like a robot. That's a robot. Yeah, I could see where the spirits of before would then be housed and trapped or be able to communicate through like a robot. Okay, so if Tracy was saying that she was speaking to a spirit box when she was speaking to her son, and she said that he said hello or something, imagine putting that spirit box in a robot that has arms and legs and all that. That's some crazy stuff. All right, and so you gotta understand that those of you who are really religious, okay, you don't want to take down your whole religion. You have to understand the power of the spirit world and not resist it. You have to release the demons, and you gotta stay out of the homogenization, because the homogenization of your religion is going to take your whole religion down and the children with it, because of your practices. Because in this environment, how many herbs and extracts are you going to give to your kid? How many operations are you going to give to your kid? They won't be able to survive. And how about you? Are you going to survive? But I guess if you're okay with dying and going to wherever, parts unknown, okay, that was the intention. When I hear people say, well, they're all about self-sufficiency, they should surrender. What do you, surrendering to what? To death? Okay, that was the intention. That was your belief system instilled in you, to surrender yourself to death, surrender your children to death, surrender everyone to death if it's meant to be. If it was God's will to die, well, okay. If you're putting your power in the medical system, in the holistic system, yeah, I guess it was meant to be. And then you get confirmation from your religion. And so now we're dealing with serial killers like they were back in the 1960s, 70s, 80s. You had the Charles Mansons, you had the Kaczynskis, and you had all the different killers, the Green River Killer, who was that? Ted Bundy. Oh gosh, so many different serial killers. And now we're seeing them, that one's in Austin, okay? That people they're pulling bodies out of a lake in Austin. You know, Davis, people are like, I guess, homeless, and whoever is stabbing each other. Kids are being kidnapped. Just so much going on. That's why it's better to stay home and stay safe when you think about it, but also understand that when you do become a little evolutionary, when you finally break away from your crowd, now you have to learn how to protect yourself, because now you have to protect yourself not only from your crowd, because your crowd of people can take you down, like your friends and your family can take you down, but also strangers. So this is where you got to save yourself, humans. Because your friends or family aren't going to save you. They're going to be putting you in the medical holistic system to be operated on and to have everything taken out. I guess that's safer than going by a stranger who'll just take you out all like that if they want to. But see, that's the thing, is like if you run away from your friends and family, what are you running to? A stranger? Who then could also do the same thing your friends and family are doing, but in a different way? Or do you finally look at yourself and be like, who am I? Do I deserve to have a long ass life? Do I deserve to evolve? Do your kids deserve to have somebody represent some kind of evolution, even though they're being given to the system? Do your kids deserve some kind of chance to survive this fucking shit? Okay, so, yeah. And so that was the thing that what I learned in my childhood, is that even when I ran away from everything that was safe, that was showing you that even family wasn't safe. But that wasn't because my parents were bad. They were a representation of what families are like in a different way, where they smile at your face, but they stab you with a scalpel. What do you mean by that? Well, they say, oh, I love you, Johnny, Billy, Susie. And then they take you to the medical system to go get operated on, anesthesia, to go get all these meds and drugs. So at least when someone's in your face saying you're stupid, or not you're stupid, but hey, they're hitting you or something, that's easy to run away from, because you're saving yourself from being hit or from being psychologically fucked with. But when someone says, oh, I love you, Johnny, Billy, Susie. Oh, I love you. Here's your religion. Here's this, here's that. And by the way, here, go to this place to go get something operated on. Go have something surgically taken out. That's where the family is so dangerous. To not only themselves and each other, but then to their children. And mothers doing this stuff to their children. It's crazy. And so then there's nowhere to run away to. So I'm glad that things weren't crazy back when I was left home. I mean, they were crazy, but not as crazy as they are today. Because and even then, running to Ohio, if I didn't have the space to deal with my bullshit, then I'd just be getting to another fucking situation of another family just destroying me because of their lifestyle belief systems and the way they do stuff. And I'd try to keep up and destroy myself trying to keep up with the Joneses. That's the issue out there, is if you don't have the space to release the demons, you will destroy yourself keeping up with your friends, your family, your mom, your dad, everyone, your cohorts, and then you get validation for it. And so that's why I mentally am confirming that I don't want to be part of any kind of sisterhood. I can kind of like, have a little bit of kindred spirits and understand, and there's certain people that understand where I'm coming from. And they get it. And so I appreciate the people that I do connect with on some level. And it's great that Audrey, you posted about the little tiny boxes. I forgot all about the Weeds theme song. So Audrey kind of gets where I'm coming from, because she posts stuff that I'm like, holy shit, yeah. Because weed was what developed our society and gave us the innovation and gave the Black population an innovation and all of that, and the artistry and all that. But it also is going to be the thing that's going to destroy us. And when you're in a homogenized group where everyone is under the influence, yeah, whether it's under the influence of alcohol, drugs, religion, politics, scientific dogmas, it's all under the influence. And so then you have that whole, little boxes. What was that? Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes made of ticky-tacky, little boxes on the hillside, little boxes all the same. That's politics. That's religion. Look at your religion. Everyone around you is all the same, saying the same stuff, spitting out the same verbiage, scripture, same stuff. No one's doing anything different. Of course not. And you're all going to take each other down with each other. There's a pink one and a green one, a blue one and a yellow one. And they're all made out of the ticky-tacky. And they all look just the same. And the people in the houses and all went to the university where they were put in boxes. See, these poor kids. And they came out all the same. And there's doctors and lawyers and business executives. And they're all made out of ticky-tacky. And they all look just the same. And they all play on the golf course and drink their martinis dry. And they all have pretty children. And the children go to school. And the children go to summer camp. And then go to the university. And I came from that world, okay? When they were put in boxes and they come out all the same. And the boys go into business and marry and raise a family and in boxes made of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. That's Daly City. When you look at Daly City, California, and you look like at the South Bay, South San Francisco, you will see the rows and rows of houses. Even in San Francisco, the rows and rows of houses that are all different colors, like literally different, and they look like, and they're all dotting the hillside, right next to each other, just strata, strata, strata. And I've had friends in Daly City. A friend of mine who passed away, that I knew back when I was 19, from San Jose, California, actually. He lived in Daly City. And he had a nice little house, it was right next to a school that was, next to a school, and all the houses looked the same. They all looked the same. It was like looking at clones. And trying to find where his house was after a few times in Daly City was like, oh my gosh. Because and so California was about breeding clones. Human experimentation, cultural experimentation, engineering of everything. Everything has been engineered. And so even your religion has been engineered. And then there's secrets. Because with all of that engineering, people do atrocious things to each other. In families, between friends and families, and mothers and daughters and sisters and brothers. Atrocious things. Some people haven't even gotten over their childhood, like literally have not gotten over. They've had stuff happen to them that no one talks about. And so that daughter or son is holding secrets inside of their body, and they're under the influence, and they're angry, and they have kids on top of that too. And they will go to the grave with those secrets that some people know, some people don't know. And it ages the hell out of them. And so how do you set yourself free when you tell the world everything? That those secrets are not secret anymore. Okay? But here's the thing, just make sure that there is an upside to you telling the world everything. Don't tell one person everything, because it'll be like a leverage. Anytime you tell someone your secrets, one person or two people or even 5 people, your secrets, whatever they are, that's a leverage. Okay, so when I put out like all of sort of like my childhood and runaway shit, just people that in San Jose, California, and in my childhood, they knew what I was going through. They were there when I was a runaway. I was running to their houses. They all were like, wow, Julianne, what's going on here? They knew, they know. And so I'd rather put it out there, because at this point when people realize that, yeah, you can be immortal, that you don't have to die someday, and then they want to go and fuck with me and try to, embarrass me with my childhood. They're like, oh yeah, I knew Jillian back when she was like 15 or 16 or 17. Boy, she was out of control. She was this, she was that. And she came to her friend's house and she ran away to his house. And they were like, and they can do a tabloid story on that. Well, I just got ahead of all that bullshit. Like, yeah, but that was the experimentation of taking positive and negative and developing an evolution. The evolution was a lot of chemistry, a lot of craziness. But finally I decided that I wasn't going to be that anymore. And that's why I went through landmark education, to figure out how to deal with that without it destroying me, and do something different with my life and develop my life and make my life something completely different than what it was or what it could have been. And I didn't get caught up in the alcohol, drugs. I mean, yeah, I had sex every so often, but nothing ever ran me. It didn't break me. I didn't go and beat people up. I didn't go rob anyone. I didn't go and do any of that shit that people do when they're dealing with bullshit. Okay, because luckily things that went on weren't so bad. Because when you think about Charles Manson, his first time of being violated, like he was raped, he then went and did something to somebody else, to a little boy. Okay, that's how bad some of these experiments were that caused these violent serial killers. And then what happens is, when the system used these tactics of corporal punishment, like in some of these reformatory schools or even some of these religious schools, then they're turning out boys and girls that have been completely abused, and then they have kids and they're in the rural areas harming their own children, raping their own children. Okay? That's the thing, that there's secrets like that in families in different parts of the US that no one talks about. And they're all homogenized, trying to say everything is great when they have that shit in their family. In religion too. A lot of these religions hold that type of stuff because of the power that some of the people in those churches and in those organizations wield over the people. Just like the Branch Davidian. David Koresh, or the other guy, I forget, abusing their power. So imagine if someone like that in a cult abuses their power like that. Imagine that in a family, a matriarch or a patriarch abusing their power. And then no one wants to believe the victims. Nobody does. And so let me read this one thing I think I forgot to put on here. And so homogenized people, they don't face the demons. They pretend everything is great. They hide behind their successes. They hide behind all of their kids. They hide behind so many things. Alcohol, drugs, sex. And so some of you who claim somebody else is a cult leader happen to actually be the cult leaders. Homogenization is a cult mentality. Can the people in your world be different? Are you allowed to be different to the people in your world? If you don't allow people to be different and you're not allowed to be different, not only are you following a cult leader, but you are one as well. But allow people in the different to be different doesn't mean that they cross boundaries and keep trying to convert you. And so acquaintances and friends and people who interact with you must understand and respect your people's lifestyles and belief systems, even if they're different from you. And you can still have a common ground. But getting there is painful. Every single one of us has been taught to convert other people into our image, saving them. That's in religion, that's in politics, that's in science. That was intentional because the chemistry of negative times positive was the birth of evolutionary ideas in people. It was intentional to put people together who did not get along. No different than putting together a husband and a wife, because the fireworks, the chemistry developed a baby, a new evolution, even new ideas. So those are all about, oh, it'd only be a man and a wife to have a kid. Yeah, you see the divorce rate, you see the domestic violence rate, you see then the birth of these religions where a patriarch is abusing the young parishioners. Oh yeah, it's not always hearts and flowers having a mom and a dad or a husband and wife, type of binary lifestyle. It isn't always, let me tell you, it isn't. And so when someone says, be the woman who fixes another woman's crown without telling the world it was crooked, well, who am I to determine if another woman's crown is crooked? That's all the people around me, the trolls, are trying to tell me my crown is crooked. Okay? They were taught that they should go and convert somebody else. But in a nice way. So I'm sick of those platitudes. No different than saying that your energy is the baseline that everyone else should work from. Stop fixing everyone and start fixing yourself. When you fix another woman's crown, you're saying that there's something wrong with her. And you're also fixing it in public. Be the woman who fixes her own crown, admitting her own crown is crooked. Sisterhood is a fallacy. Be your own keeper, not your sister's keeper. Belonging to a sisterhood means you have to conform. And the queen bee mentality was the start of the cult behavior. So if you fancy yourself as a queen bee, a head of a group, of any type of group, a head of a group, any type of group, you have developed a cult following. You are a cult leader. If your followers do not have the freedom to be different, you're a cult leader. I can't assume people will understand my information. So I appreciate them for who they are. And I'm not actually trying to convert anyone. I say my piece about the world, and I can give a fuck if you love me or hate me. I don't even need you to respect me, because if you don't, I'll just block you. Okay? I don't demand respect. I don't. If you don't respect me, then that's on you. I'm not going to take abuse. But I don't expect you to respect me. You can watch my shit and say whatever behind my back. I don't care. Okay? At this point, it doesn't even matter. Save yourself. Brotherhood and sisterhood is all about cult leadership. Because who are you leading, and why are you following, and why, and what is your interest? And so that's the thing about with mothers and fathers and even heads of religions or speakers through religion is, why are you leading people? What are you taking from them? What kind of monetary gain are you getting from them? And what is your intention? Oh, my intention is to wake them up and do what? Take their money? Wake them up and do what? Take them down over the cliff just like with you? Okay. But that's homogenization. Just look at all the new religions in the conspiracy world, the chemtrails world, the anti-GMO world, the anti-V world, the pro-V world, every world out there that you're seeing, everyone's taking an activist stance on, the new religions, all the new religions, the star seeds, and all the home remedy people. And then you see what the 1960s was developing. They developed a type of where you're not just worshiping like just Jesus and this other dude. Now all of you have the ability to be the God, right? Because Jesus is showing how easy it was to have somebody be martyrized and then develop a cult following called Christianity, Catholicism, and then also even the Hebrew stuff, another cult following. You have a leader or somebody that developed that. And now you have all these followers, whether it's Jehovah, whether it's any other religion out there. I don't care what it is. However you spin it, it's a homogenization and the takedown of you, your family, and your whole culture. And if you can't be heterogeneous, if you can't evolve, literally, if you really cannot evolve beyond the medical, holistic, politics, religion, and science world, then yeah, it's the Pied Piper, and he is leading all the little rats into the water to be drowned. That was the whole point of the 1960s, all the way up to this point. We're watching it happen. You don't need any more Hollywood writers. Just look at your Facebook. That right there is the movies. Just look at your Facebook and everyone in it. They're doing exactly what the movies were telling you was going to happen and what is happening. But remember, you stayed only in your one genre, your romance, your horror, your drama series, your thriller, crime dramas, comedy, the drug culture, sex culture, the family culture. Yeah. Now you're seeing how the world really works. All right, bye.